Hey family, how you doing today? I'm Jeff Taylor, your wealth architect, and today we're going to explore how you can artificially create property appreciation. No more waiting around for the market to do that for you. Now think about this. How many times have you seen property values fluctuate unpredictably? One year your property is worth a certain amount, and then the next year the market drops, wiping away years of growth. Let's think about that. Every time that situation happens where your property equity is wiped away, do you realize how expensive that is and how that indirectly drains the potential to build retirement or to pay for college or to buy additional properties? You may have already seen this firsthand. The truth is, traditional property appreciation is slow. Even in some of the higher places throughout the country, like California or Texas, it's still pretty slow in relationship to what you could be doing if you knew how to force appreciation with your property equity value. So here's the good news. You don't have to wait for the market to dictate your property's value, right? You can artificially create that appreciation using strategies that put you in control of your property's future. I had no idea that this was even a thing until 20 years ago. I read a book by a gentleman named Rick Edelman, where he talked about why you should carry a big, long mortgage and never pay it off. Until I read that book, I had no idea that property equity is something that needs to be protected and that can be grown outside of property appreciation. So the problem is that when we're relying on market appreciation, it's passive. You're hoping that external factors will help you grow your wealth. But with the trifecta formula, we don't wait. We make it happen intentionally. How do we do this? Well, through strategic improvements to your property, smart repositioning of equity, and powerful financial tools that generate growth regardless of the market's mood. And if you're one of these folks who are not interested in doing upgrades and things like that, that's no problem. We can still help you increase your property equity value. So let me show you how the trifecta formula works when it comes to artificially creating property appreciation. So first of all, we want to look at repositioning the equity. Equity within itself is, or having equity in the property, I call it's kind of like having one of your kids. They're an adult now, but they're still living at home. They're not working. They're not contributing to the household. That's what property equity does. Until property equity creates interest, cash reserve, cash flow, profit, and velocity of money, in our opinion, that is a dead asset. So when we reposition property into high-performing assets, we want to generate those higher returns utilizing the 5 miracles of money. This allows your equity to grow in a much more predictable and secure way while you're still using it to do the things that you're looking to do, regardless if that's buying additional properties or reinvesting into a business or whatever your heart's desire is. We want to implement strategic property improvements because it just makes sense. And if you can do that to enhance the equity position, of course, we want to do that. This could be a renovation. And by adding those renovations, especially if you're in the Airbnb marketplace, you know that that can add new streams of income. So the final step is where are you going to put the money? Well, we use Index Universal Life. We use it in a strategic way. The ultimate goal is to protect the investor from losing money while at the same time increasing the investor's liquidity while creating, again, the 5 miracles of money on that property equity. So we don't want to continue to rely on market appreciation. We want to get away from that by letting the market dictate your wealth. You have no idea. When I continue to review the profile of a real estate investor, or I see their numbers or whatever type of instrument that they're using to track those numbers, I always ask a simple question. When is your property equity going to double? Now, what type of answer do you think I typically get? They don't know. And so that's a crazy situation to be in. why, as investors, that we are not intentionally doubling our property equity and implementing a system where it can be tracked and that we know when it's going to happen and how it's going to happen. We want to get away from that. What that means also is that we're losing cash flow because we're not leveraging our equity. Missed opportunities, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately works against us and prevents us from building the type of wealth that we want. Is that what we want to continue to do? It's time to take control of our wealth, ladies and gentlemen, instead of waiting for external factors to shape our financial future. So here's how do we get started. We want to reposition the property into assets that create liquidity, again, so that we can do what? Create the 5 miracles of money. What are those 5 miracles of money? Interest, cash reserve, cash flow, profit, and velocity of money. And in the next couple of classes, we're going to go into more detail and what that means and how do you actually structure this in order to create that. But I've created a free report for you that I want you to take a look at. How to artificially create property appreciation without relying on the market. This report will show you exactly how to reposition your equity into high growth assets, implement improvements, and leverage Index Universal Life and other tools to accelerate your wealth growth. This strategy is so powerful. We structure it so it doesn't hurt your budget. I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care.